All right, let's get right into it. Today, we are talking about something, well, something pretty much all of us feel. Why does it seem like life is stuck on fast forward? And more importantly, can we actually hit the brakes? Let's dive in.
You know exactly what I'm talking about, right? The weeks just kind of melts into each other, the months fly by, and suddenly you're staring at the calendar thinking, wait a minute, where did the entire year go? It's become the default feeling of modern life.
But here's the twist. What if I told you that this super modern feeling isn't modern at all? In fact, this exact sensation, this feeling of time accelerating, was described with incredible accuracy over 1,400 years ago as a sign of the end of days. So this isn't just about our busy schedules, it's something way, way deeper. And we're going to unpack it from two really powerful angles: modern science and timeless wisdom. First up, let's look at the science. Why does it feel like our lives are playing at double speed? Well, it turns out the answer starts right inside our own brains. Think back to when you were a kid. Remember those summers that felt like they lasted forever? That's because as kids, almost everything is new. Your brain is firing on all cylinders, processing new sights, new sounds, new information. All that hard work actually stretches out your perception of time. But as adults, well, life gets pretty routine, doesn't it? The same commute, the same job, the same evenings. Our brain goes on autopilot. It doesn't need to record all the details anymore. And when our brain processes less new information, time just feels like it's slipping right through our fingers. But that's just the psychological side of things. It actually gets even more fascinating when we realize this isn't just in your mind, it's in your body. Your sense of time is a physical thing. There's this incredible scientific concept called embodied cognition. Now, it sounds complicated, but the idea is actually pretty simple and kind of mind-blowing. Your body is your clock. You see, there's no little stopwatch ticking away in your head. Instead, a part of your brain called the insular cortex is constantly listening to your body's signals, your heartbeat, your breath, even your gut feelings. And it weaves all of that data together to create your personal sense of how fast time is passing. It's a full body experience. And you know what's so cool about that? It means we can actually influence it. Because our sense of time is tied to our body and our brain, we can actively do things to change it. Science shows us that when we shake up our routine, through things like mindfulness, trying new things, seeking out novelty, or even just letting ourselves be surprised, we're basically forcing our brain to wake up from autopilot and pay attention. And when it does that, it can actually slow down our internal clock, making time feel fuller and richer again. Okay, so science gives us a fantastic explanation for the how, the mechanics of how our brain perceives time. But this is where we need to pivot, because it doesn't really answer the deeper question, does it? The why. Why does it feel like our whole society, all at once, is experiencing this loss of time? And for that why, we have to turn from the lab to timeless wisdom. You see, science explains the mechanism, the how. It's all about information processing and body signals. But faith offers a diagnosis of the root cause. It asks a totally different question. What is the quality of our time? What's its purpose? What's its spiritual richness? And this brings us to a beautiful and powerful concept, the Arabic word baraka. Baraka means a divine blessing. And what it does is completely reframe the entire conversation. It's not about the number of hours in your day. It's about the quality, the fulfillment, the spiritual productivity that you can pack into those hours. It's about a little bit of time feeling like a lot. So here's the spiritual diagnosis. That feeling of time speeding up isn't the disease itself. It's a symptom. It's a symptom of a collective loss of baraka in our lives. We have the same 24 hours in a day that people have always had, but our time feels shorter because it's less blessed, it's less meaningful, and we often accomplish so much less of what actually matters. So if the problem is a loss of this blessing, this baraka, what's the cure? Well, amazingly, a complete antidote is laid out for us in one of the shortest but most profound chapters of the entire Quran. It's a chapter called Al-Asr, which literally translates to the time. Now, the chapter opens with this incredibly powerful oath, swearing by time itself. And then it makes this staggering declaration that by default, all of humanity is in a state of loss. That's our starting point. We are born into a condition where our single most valuable asset is constantly and irreversibly slipping away. But it doesn't just leave us there. Right after diagnosing the problem, it gives us the solution, a crystal clear 4-step blueprint for how to escape this state of loss.
And it's fascinating because it's not just about us as individuals. The first two steps are personal, having belief and doing righteous deeds. But the next two are collective, encouraging each other toward truth and encouraging each other toward patience. It's a roadmap for both personal and community well-being. This all leads to an amazing metaphor. Time is presented as our capital. It's the only real currency we have to invest in our future, both in this life and the next. And every single second that ticks by is a piece of that capital being spent, gone forever. You can't earn it back. The only question left is, how are you investing it? So this is where it gets really exciting. How do we take this ancient, timeless blueprint and actually apply it to our crazy, fast-paced modern lives? Well, this is where we get to merge the science with the wisdom. And look at how beautifully this all lines up. Science tells us, hey, you should cultivate mindfulness to slow down your perception of time. Faith says, rise for early, focused worship, which is the ultimate act of mindful connection. Science says you need to introduce novelty into your life. Faith says you should be on a lifelong journey of seeking knowledge. And science is now proving the profound benefits of strong community, which is exactly what faith tells us to build by encouraging each other toward truth and patience. It's the same conclusion, from two different paths. So, what's a practical way to start? One of the most powerful things you can do literally today is something we could call #SlowSalah. It's about making a conscious choice to transform the 5 daily prayers from just another task you rush through on your to-do list into a genuine, mindful, spiritual anchor in your day, something that actively pushes back against the feeling of being rushed. And listen, this is not a new idea. There's a famous story where the Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, saw a man rushing through his prayer, just pecking at the ground. He stopped him and told him, "Go back and pray, for you have not prayed." Think about that. The action was there, but the quality, the presence, the mindfulness, that's what was missing. And that's what gives our actions their true value. That is what invites barakah into our time. So it all comes down to this one final, powerful question that each of us really has to sit with. If time truly is our capital, and every single second is being spent whether we like it or not, what does our personal balance sheet look like? When you take an honest look at how you invest your hours, your days, your years, are you in a state of profit, or are you in a state of loss?